Okay, we're live. And what I would like to know is in what ways you express love, or what are some of the ways that you feel love or come to know love?
For me, actually, it's been, in terms of feeling love, it's being aware literally of how it feels in my body, because that's very much about what I'm about. So and if I had to describe it, put it into words, and I
Yeah.
love the question because it's prompting that.
Yeah.
There's a range of how it feels. There's different feelings that I've come to associate with feelings of love.
Okay.
But sometimes it feels like bubbles inside, not gas, but like a tickling kind of, like a gently kind of just bubbling inside, not just there's like a mellow feeling of just inside of just feeling like good, just like everything inside feels good, and then there's a feeling that feels like a little different vibration, maybe a faster vibration of just like exhilaration and exuberance,
Ooh,
and
I
just
love
like,
it.
yeah, almost like, like oxygen, like extra oxygen is just like pouring through me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've come to identify that as source. When source is pouring through me like that, and for me, source is love.
Yes.
So that's the best feeling. And actually, the amazing thing about expressions of love, I've gotten into the practice habit, or just allowed myself to express love toward myself. Like all the time, I'm like, I love me, and I love this about me, and I love that about me, but I love me. And it's true what they say, like the old, axiom. It's like, you have to feel love for yourself to be able to express it.
Absolutely.
And the more I feel it and express it to myself, the more readily and easily I'm just expressing it to other people. But there's a genuine feeling attached to it. It's not just a word. It's not just an empty word of just like, oh, I love you, I love you. Like, no, when I say that, I mean it.
So is there a difference in the way you feel when you might be critical towards yourself versus when you're appreciating yourself?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
and do you know it right away? Like, do you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I feel it. Because I'm really, the work I do is about my feelings, and my feelings let me know what's going on. And I've come to really just be aware of my gut and honor it and really, and I'm like really tuned into it. So there's like and just being aware of like how it feels in my body, because any emotion that I feel, how it feels in my body. And then, because for me, my overall intention is that I feel good. Like that's the most important thing, no matter what.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And so because I hold that as my intention, and because I care about how I feel, like I really do, anything that doesn't feel right, like the conversation we were having, anything that doesn't feel right, I know that's contrary to what I want. That's contrary to source. That creates a perception of a separation from source, because I believe there's no separation. There's oneness. But if I'm feeling a negative emotion, it will separate me from that oneness and from who I really am and from the love. So if I'm critical, especially if I'm critical of myself, that creates more of that will instantly create a disconnect for me from source.
So what I hear you saying is that one of the expressions of love you have is to make how you feel a priority so that you're in touch with source. And then can you explain to me, once you've made that a priority and you've honored yourself and connected with that source in that good feeling place, how does that flow into what you're doing with everybody that you interact?
Because then I love everybody. Because if I get that, and I'm clear about this, that whenever I'm feeling negative emotion, it's because the way I'm thinking about something, whether that be me or someone else or some other subject, is not in alignment with how source sees that. And for me, source is an internal thing. It's my inner being. So and I accept that's the bigger part of me, the spiritual, the spirit part of me. So if I'm not in alignment with that, it's because I'm viewing something or holding a thought about something that's is not in alignment with who I really am.
Exactly. And when did you come to this powerful place of just deciding to appreciate yourself and value how you feel, measured against how other people feel about you?
When, in terms of time?
Yeah,
or
just in what was that
in terms of
process
my
like?
process?
Yeah.
I actually have, for many years, been in assorted 12-step programs, and in one in particular, it was really about focusing on my true self, who I really am, internalizing God, source, spirit, so to speak. And by that I mean connecting to the internal God, internal source, the God within, and realizing that's who I am, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that began the process of, and for me, I came to the awareness that self-validation, self-acceptance, self-love is what it's all about, because that's
so empowering.
I mean, because that's the real deal. Because that's when I have that, then I'm like almost invincible, because it doesn't matter what's going on around me, and I'm not looking outside of myself for those things, and they can't be really. I can get snippets of that kind of stuff from outside, but it's never enough.
Right.
External validation is never enough. External acceptance is nice. External love is great, but it's not enough, and it can be very temporary. If something changes in somebody, it's fleeting. If something changes in somebody else, that it can leave in a nanosecond. And if that's what I was relying on to feel good, or if that's what I was relying on as my source of self-worth and who I really am and my identity and love, then I'm screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, I am so grateful that you're giving us this interview, and I really appreciate that you've prioritized how you feel and connecting with your source, because you're right. If we just wait for everybody else to validate us, then you're always in a state of being powerless, because we're so fickle and we all change so much. But if you become the source of your own connection, then how much benefit we get, me included, and everybody watching this video that gets to just tune into that light that you're prioritizing and bringing forth. It's really
and
good.
And the cool piece is that it's all access. Like
Anytime.
all access.
Yeah.
Like it's all access. Like anytime, anywhere, any place, any way, I have access to that, and it's my core. That's the core connection piece. It's my core. It's who I really am, and I thought of source in an interesting way as that's my power source.
Ooh.
And when I'm plugged into that source, I have all the energy, I feel great, I have stamina, I have clarity, the wisdom flows, the intuition. I'm like just, like cooking with gas, as they say. But when I, by virtue of negative thought, when that's pinched off, I'm exhausted. I have no energy. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that began in my 12-step programs, and then that kind of brought me to the teachings of Abraham, which I was clearly guided to, and then that took that to a whole nother level.
Oh yeah.
Like it just took it to a whole nother level. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. I'm really grateful, and thank you for the life that you live, and just for being a source of love for other people who are out there seeking.
And thank you for asking me. This was fun.
I know. Thank you.
Thank you.